Hi mathematicians, it's Mrs. Aubin here and we're ready for math. We are going to be reading and writing numbers and then solving word problems. So the first thing I want to do is look at page 219 in your math workbook. It is also on your Google slide that is attached, and I want to show you some examples of the work you'll have to be doing. So number one, it says to write the numbers for the words. So I'm going to use the secret code cards to help. I see it says 212. So I'm going to grab my 200 card, my 10s card, and my 2 card and put it together. I know that the 2 represents 200s, right? Especially when I pull it in expanded form. My 10 is the same as 10 dots, or there's a stick, and then my 2 ones is the 2 dots. So when I put it together back into standard form, I have the number 212. So I would write 212 on that line, and you'll have to do that in a text box unless you'd rather do it in your workbook and send a photo to me. But it gets a little trickier over on the side here with numbers 2 through 8 because you can't use your secret code cards for these. So you have to think about place value. 2008. So I don't hear anything about hundreds or tens. I just see my thousands and I see my ones. But be careful. If you were to just write the 2 for your thousands and then an 8, you're going to have 28. We don't want to do that because that's not the same number as 2008. So when you see something like this, put a 2 for your thousands. Remember the comma goes after the digit in the thousands place. Since you don't see 100, put a 0 there. Since you don't see a 10, put a 0 there. And then put your 8 in the ones place. Now read it. 2008. That makes a lot more sense. Going down to number 11, the directions are a little different. You're going to write the word name for each number. So you're going to just look at it, 783. I mean, I can use my secret code cards to remind me that that's 700, that 7 in the hundreds place represents 700s, that's the value. And if I pull it in expanded form, the 8 in the tens place is the same as saying 80. And then the 3 in the ones place is the same as saying 3 ones. And I can look on the back and I see, oh yeah, that's 700s. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 700s. I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 tens. And then on the back I see 3 ones. So when I put it back into standard form, I have 783. If I'm going to write the word name for that number, I'm just going to write it the way I would say it. 783. You don't need the word and. It's not 783. It's 783. And is used for decimals, so save it for that. When you get down to write each number in expanded form, you could use your secret code cards for this. When I see 314, I know I need 3 hundreds because there's a 3 in the hundreds place, 110 because I see a 1 in the tens place, and 4 ones because there's a 4 in the ones place. So checking on the back, that's 3 hundreds, yep, 1 10 stick, and 4 dots, 4 ones. That's expanded form, right? 314, here it is in standard form, but when I pull it apart in expanded form, the secret code cards will help for this. Now when you get into the thousands place, you can't do that. But I can write 300 plus 10 plus 4. Now, the last 2 problems ask for standard form. That's just putting those numbers back together. So if I have 5 thousands, I'd write a 5 with the comma for the thousands place. I notice there are no hundreds, so make sure you put a 0 to hold that place value. 8 tens and 7 ones. Okay, so that's the first part of your lesson. In the second part, you'll be doing some problem solving. So I came up with some examples to help you. Be thinking of our strategies that we use. Visualize, draw a model, think about your clues, and then solve it. So here we go. We're going to look at the first one. Frank baked a batch of cookies. He gave a bag of 10 cookies to each of his 4 friends. He kept 3 cookies for himself. How many cookies did he bake in all? So I might read that more than one time. I'm going to be thinking about my clues. So he gave a bag of 10 cookies to each of his 4 friends. Wow. Okay, and then he kept 3 cookies for himself. I want to know how many in all. Well, I'm going to draw a place value drawing to help me with this. If he had 10 cookies for each of his 4 friends, and I know this stick in a place value drawing represents 1 10, that would be for one of his friends, that's a 10, another 10 for another friend, 10 and 10, because it says he has 4 friends and he gave 10 to each. So this would be 10, 20, 30, 40, plus he had 3 for himself. So I'm going to do a place value drawing for that as well. And because that's only 3 cookies, I'm going to draw 3 dots. Now can I answer that question? How many cookies did he bake in all? Sure, I'm going to look at my place value drawing. 10, 20, 30, 40, 41, 42, 43. My answer is 43 cookies. So you can do the place value drawings in your math workbook and just put the answers on the Google slide for this section. Okay, let's look at another one. Mrs. Aubin baked 75 cupcakes. She put the cupcakes in boxes of 10. How many boxes did they fill? So I can use my cards again for this if I want. If that helps you, make sure you grab your cards. If you don't think it's going to help, I bet if you use them, you'll be surprised. So if I say 75, there's my 70 and there's my 5. I can put that together to show the standard form or pull it apart for expanded. It might help you as well. This represents the number of cupcakes that I baked. If I put the cupcakes in boxes of 10, how many boxes did they fill? Well, if I'm using my secret code cards and I flip it over, I already have a drawing there, don't I? It's already showing me the place value drawing in tens for the number 70. I could just count those and figure it out. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. There's 7 groups of 10. So if she put the cupcakes in boxes of 10, and she has 75, I know that 7 is in the tens place. There's 7 tens in that number. And how many boxes did they fill? I would say 7 boxes. And then if I flip over the other one, how many cupcakes were left over? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 cupcakes were left over. Now, if you'd rather draw the picture, you can, of 75, and you'll see how many tens and how many ones are left over. Looking at one more problem, this one is Mrs. Harrison arranged 356 books on her bookshelf. She put 10 books on each shelf. How many shelves did she have? How many shelves did she fill? How many books did she have left over? So I'm going to look for clues. She had a total of 356 books. She put them in groups of 10. I think if I use my secret code cards, it's going to help me. So I'm going to grab, I know I'm going to need 3 hundreds. I'm going to need 5 tens. There's my 5 tens. And I'm going to need my 6 ones. That's my 6 ones. Now where are those 300s? The 300s do not want to be found. So, here they are, actually. That's in expanded form. But if I put it together in standard form, 356, that's how many books Mrs. Harrison arranged. And I know I need to find out how many groups of 10 is in that whole number. Well, if I think about the back, I can count them. This shows me the 10s, right? Each stick is worth 1 10. So here I have 10, 20, I have 30 10s right here. If I flip this one off, I see 31, 32, 33, 34, 35 10s. And on the ones, I'm not going to see any 10s. So I know I have 35 10s in this whole number. So that would be, how many shelves did she fill? She would have filled 35 because that's how many 10s I have. And she put 10 books on each shelf. And I would say 35 shelves. And then, of course, the 6 left over. 6 books left over. So these cards can be very helpful. The other way of doing it would be to draw place value drawing, and you could do that yourself as well. So going back to those pages on Google Slides, get out your secret code cards, use those, think of your strategies for problem solving, and have fun.